episode of Mind Over Masculinity. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a topic that challenges one of the biggest tensions in leadership. Like, how do you stay deeply human while building systems that serve thousands? Yeah. And our theme today is amazing, dear listeners. It's leading magnanimously while scaling ruthlessly. The servant leader's guide to systems thinking. Yeah. Because let's be real, like leadership is not just about the heart. It isn't just about the efficiency also, right? It's all about holding both without losing yourself or the people who matter most. Correct? So, and to explore this, I'm joined by someone whose story could power a Netflix series. Like, please welcome Andrew Brummer. So, welcome to the show, Andrew.
Hi, Avik. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate being here.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, before we delve deep into the discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce you with Andrew. So, Andrew's journey spans continents, industries, and reinventions, like from facing the dreaded, the company might not survive kind of call to choosing radical service over survival to becoming a mentor to professionals worldwide, all without a college degree, starting over at 53. Yeah. So he's a kind of fractional executive, a two-time author, a servant leader whose team members follow him anywhere, and a man who somehow finds time for 35,000 light Christmas shows, breeding marine life, Kilimanjaro climbs, and ballroom dancing. So his philosophy is very simple, like people first, systems next, and results always. That's amazing, right? Uh, so I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get into the discussion. And Andrew, welcome to My Double Masculinity.
Thank you, Avik. I appreciate it.
Lovely, lovely. And so, Andrew, like, definitely, I have to say, your story is remarkable. And you went from the kind of, I would say, potential collapse to building a global coaching mission. So, when you first faced that moment of kind of reinvention, what was running through your mind as a man, as a leader, and as a human being?
As a human being, you face the inevitable challenges that you have a family, you have children, and you have to keep things stable and keep things glued together correctly. The next scary thought that goes through your mind is I've got comfortable, I've got in my corner, I'm great at what I've done, but I've been reliant on a salary and I've really disrespected the art of networking and creating a brand and people around me that know me, care for me, and love me. The next is you go into sulk mode and wallow mode, and you feel sorry for yourself and put yourself in victim mode. And then is the magical step is how quickly can you transform from that into execution. And when I got into that, it's very much then saying, I don't have a brand. I'm very not known in the Atlanta area. And what do I now do with this? And one of the first things I started doing was I started doing a whole bunch of coaching and mentoring of students, managers, executives across the globe in many different parts of the world. And that then helped me. That was important because it helped me find my voice. It helped me find common topics and helped me crystallize the message of what I really do and really experience firsthand just how impactful it can be when you take ownership of tomorrow and to impacting people's lives.
Correct. So let's, I mean, did fear or doubt ever overpower the radical service mindset? Or, and if, like, how do you navigate that inner storm?
It absolutely did and still does, right? Every day now, you're constantly of the view to say you should not take things for granted. And once your eyes are open and your mind is open to being self accountable to that, you don't blame other people because things are not happening around you. You blame yourself.
Mm.
So you're constantly aware of what's going on. But there's a beautiful thing that happens every day that we wake up. You know, when I get out of the right hand side of my bed and when I wake up, I get to put my foot on the ground, my right foot on the ground.
Mm.
I get to choose. I get to choose what today looks like, and I get to choose my mindset. I get to choose how strong I am, and what I'm going to do with today and how I'm going to live today to maximize who I am. So while there is constant doubt, I think anyone in a state of flux would face doubt and nervousness. But I think it's all mindset, is how you address the challenge that you're faced with.
Mm. That's amazing. Yeah. And like, so I think like so many men listening can relate to this mix of panic and possibility. The voice that says that you are too old, too late, too small, and the quieter voice that says maybe not. So hearing like how you leaned into the service instead of self perseverance is powerful. So what do you think on this?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, back to mindset, it's understanding that you're in a hole, and you need to move yourself forward. So we can all choose to be victims in the moment that we're faced with, but you got to lean in and figure out what are you going to do with this. There was a lot of self doubt when I started this journey 18 months ago.
Yeah.
uh, I had no one. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where to go to find work. Well, I was like, I just have no idea what to do here. And, I was just probably scared as a father and an adult can be. And you just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Um, but I think the key there is action. Like, put a plan together and start moving forward. And I think the key that I wish I'd learned earlier is, while I was comfortable, I should have been networking and making friends and helping people and getting my brand out, instead of being in a mad rush and then trying to cram everything through in a very short window of time. Because if I'd started, and I've written that one of the books is about it, You Decide, and is about how do you, at 35, 40 years old, or 20 or 25 years old, how do you start living a life of networking and caring and paying it forward and serving people, so that when, not if, when you get to that point that you get that Dear Johnny call, or you've got that fright moment ahead of you, and whether it's personal or professional, whether it's work related or family or children and whatever it is, that you have a base of people that know you for the heart of you. They don't know you because of the job you did, or because of the money you can help them make, or because of the needs that they can provide you, the service they can provide you, but they know you because of you. And when they know you because of you, they can help you in a different way. But it takes time to find those people and develop the relationships. And we have to fight the most frustrating thing of humanity, and that is laziness. You got to get over the laziness and get out of your own way.
Yeah, exactly. So you often describe yourself as a kind of business polygraph and as a solutionist as well. So, what do you mean by that? I mean, how do those roles help you cut through the noise when leading fractured teams?
Yeah. So I've had the privilege, and I don't recommend anyone do what I did. I scattered across the entire business. So I've done back end operations, I've done product software development, data warehousing, costing, IP, HR, scale up, scale down, legal, investment sales. So I've done a lot. I've had a privilege of doing a lot. I've also got a very quick mind. I can walk into any situation and very quickly I can cut open what's going on. So my Colby score is 3395. And if you research Colby, it means I'm very fluid, very flexible, and I work a lot on intuition. So put all of that together in one bundle, it allows me to walk into an environment and very quickly understand the state, the people, the organization, kind of how real is this? So polygraph is lie detector, right? It's truth finder.
Mm.
It's being able to get in there and say what is actually going on here. And I leverage that skill to help people find the best in themselves and help them get out of their own way, make themselves dispensable and make themselves scalable. And then everything else underneath that, solutionist, multiplier, etc., all glue up underneath that, as depending on who I'm working with will depend on whether I am helping them solutionize and find answers, whether I'm helping them figure out themselves and look in the mirror, whether I'm helping them build teams around themselves so that they can make themselves dispensable and, either actually go on holiday or get ready to sell the company or scale up and change their career trajectory. So it's then leveraging these broad skill sets in any one discussion so that I can maximize and help that person that I'm working with or helping be the best person they can. And that may be a CEO, and it may be an executive, it may be somebody coming out of college.
Hmm. Definitely, yeah. And I was thinking, like, have you ever had to call out a leader's blind spot in a way that risked uh, damaging the relationship? Like, and what do you learn from that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Being an effective leader doesn't mean everything is rosy. It means you take on some very difficult discussions,
Yeah.
whether that's with a leader, whether it's with a peer, or whether it's with your team, or if your function is, for example, a people officer or peacemaker in the organization or products or operations, you've got to be able to cross some very difficult bridges and have some very challenging discussions, always keeping your emotion out of it, staying fact while being graceful, kind, and humble, and being able to enter into the discussion to be able to find the outcome. And the biggest challenge when it comes to taking these difficult topics on is making sure that the person you're addressing, you do not put them in a defensive state. And what I mean by that is going in and saying, instead of, let's say, for example, you're behaving in a way that's causing challenges or causing not the most productive or fruitful experience with me, instead of me coming to you and say, hey, Avik, when you're doing this over here, you need to do this differently. I may go to you and say, Avik, when this happens, this is how I feel and react.
Mm.
And know when I feel and react like this, I demonstrate the following characteristics. And when that happens, I know that we get into arguments, or the lesser of me comes out, or I'm not the person that I should be or aspire to be. So, I would love some help to make sure that when you behave like that, just be aware when I'm doing this, and it will be wonderful if you could work with me to help me figure out how do I avoid creating situations that put you in a position to behave like that. And by doing that, you remove the attack scenario, that you don't put the person in the defensive scenario. And that's just an example. But the key is trying to find a way, and everyone's different, trying to find a way to facilitate those discussions, create accountability boards, accountability charts, whether you're using KPIs, OKRs,
Yeah.
using measures to draw visibility onto problems that you need to solve. So there are a lot of tools in the arsenal, to address that. But it's one, being very aware of the situation and being very aware of self, and making one second to the outcome of the solution. Because if you're not trying to be the champion in the moment, then people will unknowingly and unintentionally work with you to find a solution.
Very true. Exactly. So, um, like, also, like, you have led across wildly different contexts, like from startups to Fortune 500. And do men in leadership struggle with the same inner battles regardless of the industry? What do you say?
No, I think, I understand of everything I have lived. My growing up, my mom, my dad, my school, sports, the careers, the jobs I've worked. I'm the sum of me. And
Hmm.
you're the sum of you. And and the key here is every person, male or female, gets to. It just is the sum of what they are. And you, as a leader, is your job. You win by figuring out what makes that person tick. Every I don't know that the way I react to things and for things and about things, that you would react in the same way, because you have a different set of values, priorities, approaches. I think there is a common theme of people wanting to be listened to, wanting to be heard, wanting to be able to run things. And I think there are different characteristics. There are, graceful, kind, forward-looking, sharing leaders that draw out the best in people, and there are narcissistic leaders who, in their own world, are great at what they do. And you just have to make sure that the person you are working with is aligned to your ethical, social, personal structure that allows you to sleep well at night. There's no profession that says everybody needs to be the ideal manager. The idyllic manager it's a case of understanding the human that you're dealing with and making sure if that human is not congruent with you, that you move on. Don't put yourself stuck in a corner working for someone that is not congruent with the way you live life. If you do that, then you need to suffer the consequence of what you've put yourself into. But um, I don't know that it's easy. I don't know that it's easy to profile and say every you male leaders experience the same type of thing. I think it comes down to the individual, where they're at in their life, the challenges they're faced with, what they're good at, how they're respected and loved in the office and at home, and what their aspirations are, kind of, and how do you work with that person based on the sum of who they are.
Mm, exactly. Very good thing. Yeah, definitely. Wow. And like how does the culture, like say South Africa versus US or India, change the way those battles show up?
So that has been a fascinating experience over the last 18 months. So I have mentored people in India, Australia, Iraq, Uzbekistan, Botswana, Nigeria, Kenya, Venezuela, US, Canada, so many places. What is
Mm,
fascinating to me is that everyone that I've mentored, from people that are in school trying to figure out what subjects they should study, all the way through to executives who are running companies,
yeah.
all across those countries in a professional capacity, they're all facing the same challenges: economics, politics, needing to be heard, needing to find identity, needing to be able to figure out what books to read. How do they progress their life moving forward? How do they make changes? How do they lead people? That's all. It's fascinating that the business problems are so congruent with one another. And as soon as you step into the social world, it's completely different. Completely. I mean, it you can't even compare the problems that somebody in Nigeria is facing at a personal level compared to that of Botswana, compared to that of the US or India. It's fascinating that at a professional level, we are all dealing with the same problem, some very, very similar problems, and the solutions are very, very similar to one another, regardless of where you're at. But at a personal level, it is so radically different. It's fascinating.
Exactly. Wow. So that's amazing. And I also like I'll have to mention that. I mean, it's really fascinating because it shows our struggles for, I mean, both universal and cultural. So, masculinity is not like kind of one size fits all. It's deeply shaped by where we grew up. So, uh, what systems we inherit and how we choose to rewrite them. So, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. I think the sum of who we are at, masculinity can be defined in many different, or present itself in many different ways. And how that person comes to be in that position will be very different from me. And I will represent myself in a different way to the way you have. And the solution to how you address me in dealing with some difficult situations versus you would be very, very different. And that's what I try to address in the book, Leading Magnanimously. My goal was to say, if you're going to create and work with a team of people
Mm,
that are passionate and loyal to one another, you have to deal with a human as an individual. And that means understanding the person for what they are, the person for who they've come to be, what they're about, and why they are where they're at. And as far it is permissible or appropriate or right, it is your job to understand that person, to love, accept, and help them to become someone larger than they thought they could be, within the confines of what they are. And that means if you and I are in the same team and we have a manager that's managing you and I, the manager will deal and help you grow based on who you're at and what you are. And the same with me. And there may be some common things that that person does for us.
yeah.
That's the There are absolute pers- personalized experiences, and engagement structures that allow you to become the bigger version of you and me to become the bigger version of me.
Exactly. Exactly true. Yeah. So, also, this might sound contradictory, but it's actually not. Like, few people say that systems kill the soul, and that when you scale, you inevitably lose intimacy, trust, and humanity. So, do you think that's true?
Yes, I think people are fixated with systems and processes, and we forget the fact that it's human beings that make processes work. It's human beings that pull systems together. I have a simple philosophy: look after your team will look after your customers will look after your company. I'm a firm believer that in creating teams, firm believer, and I've experienced this on numerous occasions. If you look after the team, give the team the space to love themselves and engage with themselves and look after themselves and grow trust and loyalty between themselves, they become deeply passionate and loyal with and for one another. And you, as a leader, while they may not carry that same loyalty direct to the organization, what you've done is created a level of energy that is loyal to itself within the organization toward the greater cause. You, as a leader, inherit that. And when you have that, then
Yeah.
systems will work no matter what systems you put in place. But if you start putting red tape and systems in place to govern human behavior and you do not take the time to recognize the human being, and when I say recognize the human being, it's the small things, it's the very small things, it's knowing people's birthdays, it's knowing people by name. It's taking time to go sit at their desk and talk with them. It's taking time to know that they're having trouble at home. And as much as they want to share, they're having trouble at home. That it's those small little things, the words you use in greeting them, the words you use in adoring them and praising them, congratulating, reprimanding them, the words you use in coaching and giving advice versus saying, you idiot, you shouldn't have done it that way. All of those things cause us to use systems and processes to force people's compliance versus what I advocate is the creation of these empowered teams that are self-loyal, self-loving, self-executing. And then what systems you throw at them, for the most part, won't matter. What tools you throw at them and what processes. And for the most part, you probably won't have to, because you could give that when you have a group of people that think and work like that, you can throw a problem at them and let them be, and they'll go solve the problem.
Yeah, true. Yep.
But it's hard because it takes time, because you have to know each person. You have to give each person their space, and you have to create the team that allows those people within the team to create their own space, to respect one another's space. And when you do that, you end up with a fantastic group of people who will be friends for life, because they've absolutely found one another, have accepted one another as they are, and then they maximize one another and they don't focus on one another's weak traits. They focus on one another's strengths.
Exactly. Exactly true. Yep. Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. And this is such a, I'd say, extraordinary conversation. And uh, I would say, I mean, like, that's the paradox of leadership. Like, love people individually, but design for the collective. And uh, I think our listeners will resonate with your blueprint for keeping humanity alive in scale. So that is something which is really lovely. I really love the most. And for everyone who is listening, like, uh, the next time you feel torn between caring for your people and scaling your mission, do remember this, that you can love individuals deeply and still build the systems that serve thousands. That's not the weakness, but that's the wisdom, I'd say. So take one insight from today and apply it into your team, your family, or even in the way that you lead yourself. Because transformation doesn't start with an organization, it actually starts with you. So, Andrew, like, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great medium to connect?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn on Andrew Brummer. You can go to andrewbrummer.com and it'll send off to my website. And if you do go to my LinkedIn profile or find me on X under Andrew Brummer, there I am giving the Leading Magnanimous ebook away for free right now. Go to the website, to the QR code, and download the book.
Amazing. Lovely. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, this is your host Avik signing off from Mind Over Masculinity. Till then, be happy and be mindful. So, thank you so much.